Now, this comic is a one-shot that reprints the first Human Torch story and the first Submariner story from Marvel Comics #1, which came out in 1939. This was a Halloween Comic Fest 2014 thing. I already have this comic, I think, or else I have something very similar. There's the first Submariner. But so I'm going to put this in the possible upgrades category. Most likely, though, I already have what I have is already good enough, so most likely it will end up in the to be sold category. ROM number 74. Now this one is interesting because it was the next to last issue of ROM in the 1980s, circa 1986, and this was during Steve Ditko's run where they had different inkers ink his pencils, and this particular issue was inked by John Byrne. Now I remember seeing it on the spinner rack when it came out, but for some reason, even though I liked both Ditko and Byrne, I wasn't that crazy about ROM, and so I never bought it. I did get it later. I ended up getting all of Ditko's ROM run in cheap boxes in the 90s, but then I ended up selling those maybe about 10 years ago or so. So I actually had no issues anymore. Even though I'm a big Steve Ditko fan, I had no issues of Steve Ditko's ROM run anymore, which kind of presented a problem when I was starting my YouTube series of videos about Steve Ditko's career. I didn't have any examples of ROM to show. So it was a good thing I got this issue. I figure, well, at least I can have a representative sample of Ditko's ROM, even if I don't want all of it because I think it's kind of boring. So I'm going to put this in the permanent collection. Okay, so Steve Rogers Super Soldier, Captain America Reborn. I kind of got these by mistake because here's my comics list. And you can see here, let's see, Captain America Reborn. I already have the whole series. I forgot to check. I just kind of assumed may have been missing one. But this is number 6, it says. Let me get out the magnifying glass. Yeah, this is issue number 6. So, according to my comics list, I already have Captain America Reborn number 6, the complete series. So, this is to be sold. And same thing with this one, Super Soldier. I just needed 1 and 2. And this is issue number 4. I did get number 2 in here, but I accidentally got number 4, which I don't need. Okay, so some of these are kind of random. This is issue Daredevil. So he's fighting Ultron. Number 275. It's a little rough. But, in fact, it looks like there's a little stain there. But, I don't know. Maybe I'll put it in the temporary category. Cloak and Dagger number 4. I'm going to put it in the to be sold category. I never bought it when it was out originally. It's probably similar with Power Pack. This is issue number 23 and 26. I bought a Power Pack occasionally when it came out, including the first issue when it was released. But I was never a big fan. So I'm going to put those in the to be sold category. Okay, it's lots of random stuff here. This Cole the Conqueror, I believe I already have, so I'm going to put that in the potential upgrade category. Let's get this X-Men out of the way. This looks kind of rough. There's like some, smudging or whatever going on here. A 1989 X-Men annual. I'll put that in the to be gotten rid of category. Avengers number 2. The reason I'm holding off on West Coast is I have some more West Coast coming. This is issue number 2, drawn by George Perez. And I bought the Perez run when it came out, when it was new. But then ended up selling a lot of it. So I'm going to put this in the temporary category because I might end up not needing it either. But it's a good thing I bought this one. I almost wasn't going to get this because I just assumed that I already have it, because you know, sometimes when I'm looking through those dollar boxes and I see something cool, I assume I already saw it the previous time, had already looked it up, and didn't need it. But let's see here, Marvel. But this one, I believe, was an issue I needed. Not that you really need these issues anymore, since they're all reprinted in, you know, Masterwork series and stuff. But yeah, you see, this is issue number 26. So according to my list there, I went from 24, 25 to 27. So I was missing this one. So this one goes in the permanent collection. Hercules number 3. I was never really much of a fan of this miniseries, except for the first issue of the previous miniseries, because he had 2 miniseries. But I'm going to put it in the temporary one for now. What the, number 5. I have to see what issues I have of What the, because I may already have this one. I don't know. And if I do, I'll put it in the upgrade category. If I don't have it, I think I'll put it in the permanent category. So, according to this, it doesn't look like I got it. I only have 1, 2, 9, and 10. So I'll put this issue number 5, which is an extra thick issue. I'm going to put, this was What their 1980s humor comic, sort of their version of Not Brand Ech. I'm going to put this in the permanent. Marvel Age, I collect this series because of its information about stuff that was going on in the industry at that time. And it's helpful for my research. And let's see if I have this one already. Let's see, gotta keep going. See, this is the process that I didn't want to do for some of the stuff at the comic shop. It was just too prolonged, you know, it took too long. So this one I don't have, so it's going in the permanent collection. Open Space number 1, which was Marvel's, I'll set this aside, Marvel's science fiction anthology series from the late 80s with a Frank Kelly Frias drawing on the front. Let's see if I have any Open Space or not. I think I may have one. Nope, I don't have any. I kind of assumed I had this. This will go in the temporary category, because I'm not sure if it's something that I really dig or not. All right, here's another Super Soldier. Again, it's issue number 3. And according to my list, I needed issue number 1 and 2. So, purchased by mistake, it goes into the sold category. Merc, I think I have this one already. So I'm going to look into my new universe. I just need 2 and 12 of Merc, so I don't need this one. I'll put it in the potential upgrade, because I'll take a look at my copy and see if it's any better. US 1, this is like a series I had no interest in, even though I'm a fan of Team America, you know, of the early 80s. And this series sort of replaced it on Marvel's schedule. But I had no interest in it either really then or now. But it was an early issue. So I thought, well, let's see if... See, I don't even have any US ones in here when I look at my list. So I'm going to put it in the to be sold category. And Tarzan of the Apes. This was a originally a Marvel Super Special, I believe, that did an adaptation of the movie. And so this was issue number 2. But when you look at my list, I remembered seeing this in the comic shop's dollar boxes before. Yeah, Tarzan of the Apes, need number 2. So now I don't need number 2 anymore. I have this as number 2. So this goes in the permanent collection until such time as I get like the Marvel Super Special edition. I think this was drawn by Dan Spiegel, maybe. I think that's the reason I wanted it, because I like his art. Yeah, illustrated by Dan Spiegel. All right. So now we'll take a look at more here. Okay, so there's another Power Pack issue here. This is issue number 16. I had this issue since the 1980s, like around 1985 is when I got it. But I then got rid of it. So I'm probably going to get rid of it again. But it's a cool comic to, cool looking comic anyway. It's just something I'm not personally into. Here's 2 issues of the Cloak and Dagger miniseries from the early 1980s. That $1 is written on the bag, not actually on the issue. I was never really a fan of Cloak and Dagger, but these 1980s ones have some vintage appeal. So I think I put Cloak and Dagger in the to be sold category. Here's issue number 10 of the regular Cloak and Dagger series. Looks like they're fighting Doctor Doom. Yeah, it looks kind of cool. It's like when I was looking through the boxes to throw comics in, when I saw this, I was like, yeah, I'd rather put this in rather than some, 1990s Valiant book or whatever, So I thought, yeah, I'll put it in. But it's going to be in my to be sold stack. What the number 8? I may actually already have this. I can't remember. Let's look again to see what the issues I have. It's a John Byrne cover, by the way. So we're going to scroll down here on my list. And no, according to this, what the number 9 and 10. So I don't have 8. So that goes in my permanent collection. 2 more issues of Marvel Age. Again, 110, and they actually had 2 copies of this. So this is a case where I had to, I put them in separate. They were not together; they were separate, and I had to, when I was going through the box right before I, at the very end, I was like, okay, make sure I'm not getting a bunch of doubles. And I was like, oh, I got 2 issues of this one. Let's see here, Marvel Age. If I have, I didn't even bother to check to see if I had these already. So Marvel Age, and again, if you get a double on something with a comic book, the good thing is, if you're paying 8 cents each, the good thing is you can just sell it. It's not like you're, oh my God, I spent a lot of money on something I already got. So I don't have this one already, because there's my list. So 110 and 126 I don't have. So those go in the permanent collection. ROM number 46. I'm not a ROM collector. I'm not that crazy about ROM. There was a time when I liked the series around issue number 30 or so. 30, 31, 32, around the time Rogue was in there. But I'm just not a fan of the series. So I'm going to put ROM over in the to be sold category. Mad Dog number 1. This was like a flip book thing. And for some reason, I thought it was a British series, but it may not be. It's part of a line called Ace Comics. So you see, one is sort of done in a faux Silver Age style, and then the other is the grim and gritty 1990s. But, it was issue number 1. They had a lot more in there. I just figured I'd grab one just to see what it was like, but I'm not that interested, so I'm going to put it over in the to be sold category. Whole bunch of Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. This was late 80s, early 90s series. And the artwork looks pretty decent. It's kind of traditional style artwork that I like, but not in a very boring way. It has sort of those full bleed things that we saw in the Checkmate thing from DC. So, that's a nice art. So there's a bunch of these. I'd had in the past maybe about 2 or 3 issues of this series, but I never read it. And in fact, let's take a look at my list. Let's see if I still had them or if I got rid of them. Go back to Nick Fury. I don't have any Nick Fury listed. I wonder if he's under S.H.I.E.L.D. Sergeant Fury. Oh, there we go. And I have issue number 44 from this series. This series ran from 1989 to 1993. I have issue number 4, which guest starred Captain America. But 7, 8, 9, issue number 11, issue number 12, issue number 34, and that's it. So I'm going to put these in the temporary collection. Now we have, finally we're getting to the West Coast Avengers. Remember before I had some here, and I held off on showing them. So, because I knew we had more of them. So West Coast Avengers is a series that at one point I had every single issue of. And I just picked them up dirt cheap in the bins at in the 90s at comics shops and conventions. And the thing was, though, I never really liked West Coast Avengers for some reason. I don't know why. I just wasn't a fan. Maybe I just thought it was sort of a lesser Avengers, sort of. It just seemed kind of dumber to me. Even though Steve Englehart was writing it, you would think with this Steve Englehart writing, L. Milgram layouts, Joe Sinnott finished art. Well, what's not to like, right? But for some reason, it just didn't grab me. I didn't like Wonder Man's costume. Never crazy about Iron Man's white and red costume. But, so I ended up selling all of my West Coast Avengers. But then later I thought, was I wrong about West Coast Avengers? I probably wasn't. But also around this period, this is issue number 63, Roy Thomas had left DC and was writing for it. So you figure Roy Thomas on Avengers again, that he was, had written the classic Avengers. The artwork looked good. What's not to like? But anyways, I saw these in here and I was like, well, maybe I'll give it another little chance. So I picked up a few West Coast Avengers, and this one here was one of the next to last issues, 101. But I didn't realize till I got home that it's all in crappy condition. It's sort of wrinkly. It looks like it's stained or something like that. It has kind of wrinkled paper. Yeah, you can see kind of a stain there. Sort of the mark of the stain. If I'd known that, I wouldn't have gotten it. But oh well. But I'm putting these in the to be sold category. I'm probably not going to keep them. But I used to have this series too, the Avengers, the Terminatrix Objective, which was by Mike Gustovich, who did Justice Machine in the 1980s. This was an Avengers miniseries. It only lasted 4 issues. I don't think I kept any of it. I'm pretty sure I sold all of those. Let me look at my list to see if I have any of this series already. Yeah, let's see. Nope, it doesn't look like I did. It looks like I got rid of all of them. But I'm going to put these in the temporary category because they look like they're a period I would like, especially as time goes on. Whoop, and it started to fall over. Avengers 2, Wonder Man and the Beast. This was a series written by Roger Stern during that period when Kurt Busiek and George Perez were doing the regular Avengers book. I threw it in there. I don't think I bought this at the time, but I think it was intended to appeal to the nostalgia factor, the people who liked the Avengers of the late 70s and early 80s, which is when I started reading it. I'm going to put it in the to be sold category. And we finally got an issue of Captain America's Steve Rogers Super Soldier that actually needed. This is issue number 2. And if you'll recall, when we looked on the list, I'd gotten 3 and 4 and didn't need them. But if we scroll down to Super Soldier, need 1 and 2. So now I got number 2. So that goes to the permanent collection. Now, surprisingly, I don't have any issues of Captain America Corps. This was a mini-series, and I'd seen this series in their cheap bins before, and just never wanted to spend $1 each on them. was written by Roger Stern. This is issue number 2 of 5. This is issue number 3 of 5. And this is issue number 4 of 5. Looks like it's has American Dream, who was in the MC2, the Spider-Girls universe, who's in the A Next series. I assume that's her, although that was sort of like a future Marvel. And that was issue number 4, and this is issue number 5 of 5. Another Captain. So that's the whole series except for issue number 1. So that is going in the permanent collection with my other Captain America stuff. Now here was a series I'd never heard of before, didn't know about. Ultimate Captain America. In fact, when I bought it, it wasn't until I got home that I realized this was Ultimate Captain America, because the Ultimate is really faded here. So there was, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Avengers, the Ultimates. So this is Ultimate Captain America. Written, drawn by Ron Garney, it looks like, yeah. So I don't know what I'll think of this series. I'm not particularly a fan of the Ultimates stuff. But, and like I said, I'd never heard of this before. But I got issue number 2, 3, 4. I don't know how long it lasted. But I'm going to put those in the permanent category for now. Again, I can always take them out of the permanent category. But generally, if it's Captain America, I kind of collect Captain America. So I'm going to put it in there. Now, this one, I wasn't sure if I had this one already. This is Iron Man number 231 from the 1980s. I'm not sure if my copy is in better condition or not, because I remember the copy that I bought at the time when it was brand new. I didn't take care of it, and it was in crappy condition. And then later, I think I got an upgrade of it. But I wasn't 100% sure what my copy looks like currently. So that is going to go in the potential upgrade category. This was an issue of the Firestar miniseries from the 1980s. It's Art Adams' artwork. And it looks like, is that Bill Sienkiewicz inking it? Or someone else? I don't know. But anyways, cool cover. But I was never really a fan of this series. I didn't buy it at the time. So it's probably going to go in the to be sold category. Here's 2 Spider-Man comics. Web of Spider-Man number 86. Spectacular Spider-Man number 169. Now these look like early 90s, so they're just outside of the period I collect. I kind of stop around 1988 or so. Just before Todd McFarlane took on the series, because I'm not really a fan of that. I think it has to do with nostalgia, a lot of it, and like when you started reading it. But I'm going to put these in the temporary category for now. Indiana Jones, number 13 and 19. The only issues of Indiana Jones I ever bought new, and I remember seeing the first issue when it came out of The Further Adventures of Indiana Jones. The only ones I ever bought new were the ones Dicko drew, and that happened a little bit after these issues came out. So I'm going to put them in the temporary category. I seem to recall the shop had a lot more of these in the dollar boxes, and when I've gone in the past. But if I had seen more of them, I would have got more. But anyway, they're going the temporary thing. And so far, to my surprise, the temporary stack is the tallest one. This is Doctor Strange number 33. Now this was in the dollar boxes, but I noticed it has a $6 sticker on it. So either it went in there by mistake, or else they decided just to put it in the dollar box after all. I already actually have this issue though, so I don't know if how my copy compares to this one. So it's going in the upgrade stack, potential upgrade. Solar Man number 2. This is from like 1986 or so. The noteworthy thing about this series was that Stan Lee wrote it. Back in the period when he was, of course, not writing many comics at all. I had bought issue number 1 when it came out, mainly because it was the novelty of it, and also I believe Mike Zeck drew the cover. And I think Jim Mooney drew the insides on it, on issue number 1. And I later got rid of Solar Man number 1. But the cool thing about this one, when I bought it, not knowing this at the time, is this is issue number 2. Mike Zeck penciled the interiors of this issue, and I like Mike Zeck's art for this period. So I thought, well, that's a bonus. So it's probably not that great, but I'm going to put it in the temporary category. At least I'll try to read it at some point. Now, this was an interesting one. This is one of those Epic comics when Epic started doing work made for hire stuff. You know, Epic had been known for their creator-owned stuff, and then they just started doing, like, you know, Wolverine miniseries and stuff. So that's what this was. And I remember at the time thinking that was really stupid. You know, this is like 1988 or say something like that. The thing is, the artwork on there here is really cool. John J. Muth, who I wonder whatever happened to. I know in the late 90s he was penciling Silver Surfer, but it didn't have this painted style like this one does. You see, it has a very unique looking style. See if there's any other cool shots. Wolverine looks kind of weird in these. But anyways, this is from 1988. This is book 1, so I don't know how many were done. I'm gonna, simply because the art is so interesting, I'm gonna put it in the temporary category. And this one, issue X-Men, Uncanny X-Men number 454. I believe Paul Smith is the artist. Yeah, Paul Smith drew this cover. I was a fan of his X-Men in the 1980s. Andy Park, I believe, drew the insides on it. And Chris Claremont was the writer. I bought this comic when it came out brand new. But a while back, I sold a lot of my X-Men comics simply because they needed space in the. I keep them in a short box, and I was running out of space, so I got rid of a lot of them. I'm gonna put this in the temporary category though, because I, kind of later regretted that I got rid of so many of them. So we'll put it in temporary, and we'll see. And that takes care of most of the Marvel and DC stuff. We're going to, you know what, let's look at the, I have at the back here some more Marvel DC. Maybe I'll show that next, and then we'll show the indie stuff afterwards. Okay, so next we're going to look at the issues of the Defenders that I got. And I got a lot of Defenders. This is actually my list of what Defenders issues I have. And as you can see, there's a lot that have some defects. So one of the comics that I bought here yesterday was Defenders number 64. And I looked at it a little bit ago, yesterday when I got home. And even though I already have this issue, let's see. So 64 stain on there. 64 stain. So this one is going to be an upgrade of the issue that I already have. So I'll get rid of the stained one that I have. And we'll do that. So 91. Now on my list, I didn't check my list actually on all these. I just kind of went by memory. But 91 looks okay on this one. Nonetheless, I'm going to put it in the potential upgrade category just in case my copy is better. Probably the same with 97. This one, 97 looks okay on my list. Now this one does have sort of a rolled spine type thing going on, or a flattened spine. So it might not be as good, but just in case, I'm going to put it in the potential upgrade. Same with issue number 99. According to my list, my copy is fine, but we'll put that in the potential upgrade. We'll look at them later, or at least not on video. I'll just do it at some point. I probably won't even do it today. Okay, so 110, according to this list, has a corner crease. So this may be a better copy of 110. Again, it'll go in the potential upgrade. Issue number 115. Let's see what the list says. 115 to 119 look all right, according to my list. But again, I'll put in the potential upgrade. Issue number 116. Put that in the potential upgrade. These are from the early 1980s. And this was around the time, right around this issue, a little bit before this actually, is when I stopped buying Defenders. Defenders was one of my all-time favorite Marvel comics. But we'll see here. In issue number 125, they changed it to the New Defenders, and they had it more like a regular superhero team with the Beast as the leader. And I really had no interest in it after that. 118, potential upgrade. 119. And in fact, I even recall seeing this this issue on the spinner rack back in the 80s. And ordinarily, I would have bought something like this. The cover looks great, and I think it was drawn by Sal Buscema or Buscema. In fact, I think this might be a fill-in issue or like an inventory issue. I should have bought it at the time. For whatever reason, I was just kind of done with Defenders. Now, my copy of 120 says Bent Corner. So this may be a potential upgrade. 121, my copy says Dog-eared. So again, this may be a potential upgrade. Okay, now we jump ahead to 124. My copy is okay, but again, we'll put it with the potential upgrades. 120. Now, I bought 126 when it came out, and for a long time, this was the last issue of Defenders I bought because I just didn't like the direction. I wasn't crazy about the characters. You know, it's like I wasn't interested in reading about Moondragon and Iceman and Angel and Gargoyle. You know, I kind of liked the Valkyrie is fine, but and Beast now was suddenly humorless. It was all very serious and dull. Mike Zeck drew the cover on this one, so that was cool. But the insides, it was sort of the epitome of the bland Marvel 1980s period. You know, Marvel had some great stuff in the early 90s, mid 90s, but there was also a lot of stuff that was just really bland, generic, and mediocre. And unfortunately, that's what Defenders became, according to how I felt about it. And January 1984, this was during Assistant Editors Month. You know, actually, since I don't have these anymore, 126 is one I don't have. I actually, according to my list, I says don't want any after 125. Final issue of the series was 152. Well, I got a lot after 125 here, so I'm going to add them to the temporary collection. These may be ones that I end up selling. So we got 125, 128, 129. Now, I also, according to the list, had 130, and it says Mike Zeck art. So we'll put Mike Zeck's 130 in the potential upgrade. But everything else of these Defenders ones is going into the temporary collection. We'll decide whether we want to keep them or not. 132, 133. You know, this is sort of like typical cheap box fare. You know, this isn't anything fantastic. Now, getting 323 comics or whatever this comes to for $25 is a great deal, but it isn't like I was getting, you know, it was worth it, but it wasn't like I was finding like awesome key issues or anything like that. It's just, you know, for people who, like myself, who like to sort of relive the past by looking at old comics, this is kind of nice, especially if this is the stuff I didn't buy at the time. Who knows, maybe I'll look at it again to decide, you know, I like it after all. I didn't like it when I was, you know, 14 years old, but now that I'm 52, you know, or whatever age a person happens to be, it may be, you know, especially in comparison to a lot of modern comics. If modern comics become a real turnoff, you know, then that bland, you know, generic, mediocre looking Marvel stuff of the 1980s maybe a little more comforting in a way. So this is issue number 142. This is actually Art Adams, inked by Mike Mignola. But that very early in their careers, obviously. 143. This unfortunately has a little thing in there, little bend. They had multiples of these issues, these these specific issues. So for each of these ones, I had to like very quickly just take a look. I didn't take them out of the bags for the most part. I just kind of looked and tried to see, is it white? Is there any like things that I can see that are, to pick the best looking copy. This copy here, 145, this was the first one I bought new after issue number 126. So I stayed away from Defenders for almost 20 issues back when these came out. And that was rare because, Defenders had been one of my favorite titles. But I think at some point I was like, I'm going to try it, see what it's like. 146, 147, so we're missing 148. And again, this one is also one that I bought new back when it came out. 149, 150. This one has a rolled spine, but that was the only copy they had of it. And 151. And according to my list, 152 was the final issue. So this is the next to last issue with a Kevin Nolan cover. All right, moving along with more Marvel, we have a bunch of Micronauts comics here. So Micronauts number 9, Micronauts number 13. This is when Mike Golden was the artist on it. Now, you know what? Let's look at my Micronauts list and see what Micronauts issues I actually have. Because I used to have a whole bunch, probably a lot of these same ones, and I ended up selling them. But a few I kept. And then I think I got issue number 2, the one where the kid is like mowing the lawn and is going to run over him. Yeah, Micronauts number 2 I ended up buying. 38 and 39 were the first issues of when it went direct sale. So I think some of these direct sale ones I kept, and the early ones I didn't. It says final issue was number 59. And issue Micronauts The New Voyages was the follow-up series. I have issue number 1, but I say don't want the rest. I bought issue number 1 when it came out of that follow-up series. They did have issue number 2 in the dollar box yesterday, but I did not buy it because I remembered my note to myself, don't want the rest. So I'm missing all of them from 2 to 38, between 2 and 38. Now, the thing is, I don't really want these that much. They're kind of having some nostalgic appeal, but I remember having Micronauts in the past and just not, it's one of those things where, do I love the series? If I love it, then I'll keep it. But if I don't love it, might as well just pass it on to somebody else. That's a cool cover. So this is 18, 19, issue number 20 with Ant-Man in it. Issue number 23. Issue number 25. Issue number 28 with Pat Broderick is now the artist on the series. Issue number 29. Issue number 30. Issue number 31. Issue number 32. Some of these ones I think I had back in the 80s. Issue number 34. Issue number 35. Double-sized issue. This one, 36, I remember I bought at the time. So when this issue came out, I bought it. Where they're in a grade school, it says, elementary school. And then we jump ahead to issue number... Oh, so I should say, all these issues here, I think I'm going to put them in the to-be-sold category. Simply because I don't think I'm going to read them. I don't think I'm going to keep them. But these later ones, I find direct sale stuff interesting. So, issue number 43, I don't have, because my list shows it jumps from 41 to 44, 45. So 43 I'm going to put in the permanent collection for now. I do notice there's like a crease there, but we'll put it in the permanent collection for now. Now 44 I already have, so that may be a potential upgrade. 45 I already have according to my list, so that may be a potential upgrade. And number 57 according to my list I already have. So Butch Geis was the artist at this point. I like his art. So that may be a potential upgrade as well. All right, so I believe that takes care of all of the Marvel comics that are in this thing. So if you're only interested in Marvel, I don't think there's any Marvel left. So we do have some DC left here, though. And it's all the DC stuff. And then afterwards, we'll get to the indie stuff and the Archie and, so forth. But there's a big stack here of Justice Society comics. A big, huge stack. Now, Jeff Johns has recently returned to DC with a 12-issue Justice Society miniseries, as well as a Stargirl miniseries. And I had thought about getting it, but I think I may hold off, because I remember getting JSA when he was writing it back in, or co-writing it back in, I guess around the year 2000 or so. And I saw some of these same issues in the thing. So I was like, well, I'm going to get these because they're, and I can always sell them if I don't want them. So I'm thinking, though, as I kind of looked through them yesterday, I was like, you know what? I don't love them as much as I thought I would. Because if I got rid of most of my JSA stuff. So JSA seems like something that always has sort of promise to it, but it just, for me, the execution just doesn't grab me as much as it should. So this is the JSA miniseries from the early 90s. This is issue number 2, issue number 3, final issue number 8. But then it was so popular they kept it going. This is issue number 9. This is a thing called JSA Strange Adventures. It looks like a miniseries. I bought this when it came out in the year 2000. Hard to believe it was that long ago. This is a JSA annual. Okay, and then we get to the, it started, it looks like in 1999. This is issue number 3 of JSA. Now, the thing that looks cool is that Alan Davis did the covers on a lot of these. Alan Davis has a really cool art style. But unfortunately, he didn't draw the inners, so interiors. So the art's not as appealing to me. So we have issue number 3, issue number 4, issue number 5, issue number 6, and you see Black Adam there. Issue number 8, issue number 9. Issue number 10. And again, I seem to recall having these at the time. So when I saw them yesterday, I was like, you know what? I sold these a long time ago. Might as well get them again. They're cheap, 8 cents each. Issue number 11. Issue number 13. Issue number 14. Issue number 15. Issue number 20. There's Stargirl there. Issue number 21. So it's sort of a crease there. Issue number 22. Issue number 26. Issue number 27. Issue number 28. Issue number 30. Issue number 31. Issue number 35. Issue number 36. Issue number 37. This one says extra sized issue, but it doesn't feel any extra sized, so I wonder what that's about. Issue number 38. Issue number 43. Issue number 44. issue number 45, issue number 46, issue number 47, issue number 48, issue number 55, issue number 60, issue number 61, and finally issue number 62. So all of these are going to go into the to be sold category. And you know, with Black Adam being popular nowadays, maybe that will you know, cause some interest in them. I don't know. But a stack like that could fit in like a medium-sized flat rate priority mail things. Now those are expensive to mail, but a lot of people don't realize how expensive it is to mail comics. And they're not supposed to be mailed media mail according to the post office rules. They specifically say don't mail, comic books are not eligible. So usually I use the flat rate priority mail box. Plus you get, you know, free tracking, but those do cost like around $70 to mail. Anyways, now we'll look at the indie comics.